Before we go into the topic at hand, I'm going to share an experience of us doing a pilot with hourly rates versus word rates. But I'll just use a few minutes to tell you a little bit of context of what Oura Ring is, because I know that it's not a product that's necessarily widely known. I don't have a slide for it, so I'm not selling, so I'll just tell you a little bit about the product. So the product is actually a smart ring. I know it's too far to see, it's so small and tiny and lightweight, but basically it is a wearable device that you wear on your ring to track sleep, heart rate, which mine is probably very high right now, stress, I'll show you my stress levels afterwards, and overall health, women's health, just a holistic device that is very unintrusive, and you can wear it to bed and anywhere, and then stay on track of your health and know why you feel the way you feel. So that is the Oura Ring. And like Jose already said, Oura Ring was founded in Finland in 2013. We're about 500 people strong. We have offices in Finland, where the headquarters is, and in United States, San Francisco, but our teams are very global, and my globalization team is here in the front row. I said I wouldn't point them out, but I am. And we are a global team as well, so we have 2 people in Finland, 1 in Barcelona, and 1 in the US. So we eat our own porridge. So a little bit of context of what Oura content is before we dive into the case study. So Oura, like I said, tracks a lot of your biometrics. It's a very science product. It has a lot of algorithms that work very mysteriously that we don't even know in the company. It tracks a lot of things while you sleep and during the day. And then we have the app that really puts that data into understandable format. And every morning it gives you an overview of how you're doing, how you slept, how ready you are to take on the day. Maybe is something stressing your body. It can tell you if you're getting sick in advance, so that you can kind of take measures not to get sick. So all of this content it's very content heavy, and the messages that you get daily change daily. So if you imagine that, if you have users, we've sold about 1 million rings, and if all of those users need to get a very personalized and diverse messages daily, sometimes multiple times a day, maybe you can get a hint of how much content we do. So it is a lot of content. So this is kind of the premise of where we entered into this pilot that we did. So in the beginning, we had 3 major issues in our translation operations. So first of all, a little bit of background on how we operate. Our translation team consists of both freelancers directly working for us and vendors. And one of the things that we were struggling with was engagement. So we have a very hands-on approach to how do we do vendor management at Oura. So we like to know all our translators almost personally, sometimes personally, as personally as the translators want to. So we get involved in their training, their well-being at work when they work for us, and they're really just an extension of our team. And I know that is something that a lot of people always say, that they are the extension of our team, but they really are. For us, we talk to them daily, and we include them in decision making as well. But into 2022, we were starting to scale. AI hadn't hit our copy teams yet, but it was coming. Obviously, during this pilot, we've also seen our content teams take on AI functionality. So the sheer amount of volume and the pace of that volume has really just increased during this pilot. So the engagement of our team was really important. Also, our product is very complex. It's both science, it's sometimes supposed to be fun, engaging, understandable. So the translators really need to understand the product, they use the product, and we expect them to use the product and really take ownership of the translations. So the engagement was an issue because we were paying per word, but we were really writing them quite hard. We were expecting a lot of things from them. We were expecting them to test the ring, give us advice on how to make it better and so forth. So that was one of the things we wanted to tackle. And then the unpredictability of volume, like I already mentioned, and then a highly complex product. And the solution that we figured would help here was to switch from words to hours, so that we could actually ask the translators to do the stuff that we need them to do, so that we would give them freedom to really put the time and effort into giving us what we wanted. So we embarked on this 12-month trial period, paying for every single translation task by the hour. And this includes the vendor and the freelancers. And what we thought that would happen here, we had hypotheses. First of all, as the budget holder, I was very much concerned with budget estimations, because this exercise every year was really tricky when we were getting these unpredictable amounts of volume. And when I went to the copy team, I said, how many words are you going to translate this fiscal year? Create this fiscal year? And they just looked at me, I don't know, we don't know, no idea. So I can't really make those predictions based on words. Also, the budget conversations were sometimes a little bit hard. We're part of engineering. And then when I go to my department leads to talk about budget, they think about how many hours are you going to buy, how many engineering hours are you going to buy externally? And I went in there saying, well, the Finnish words cost about 0.20 cents per word. So there was a huge disconnect between our conversation, because they didn't really understand what are they buying, why does it cost this much, or is it much, or is it little? It really they had no idea what I was talking about. But also, we assumed that if we start thinking about translation also as an engineering cost, engineering hours, we would kind of elevate our work internally, so that we are really part of engineering, and we buy external engineering services just like the other engineering managers. And like I already mentioned, we were really after better engagement and better quality. And the better quality is something that we expected to see through engagement. So if our translators are engaged, they will take the time to really understand what they're doing, and also do testing, also use the product at their own time. So those were the hypotheses. We set up a questionnaire to our translation team, which is something we do every year in any case, but this time we added questions about how do you feel about us charging you by the hour? Do you agree that this is a good thing? And one of the main things that I wanted to do is, I didn't want this to be a top-down decision. So I didn't want the Oura globalization team to say, hey, now we're going to start paying you by the word and not the hour, and not ask your opinion. So we did that. We wanted to be on the same page with the translators. They said yes. And then we started analyzing the volumes we turn around. And this wasn't an exact science. We had no idea what we were doing, because we hadn't done this before. So we started gathering all types of data from our system. So how many words do we usually turn around in a year? What is the median word count of a feature in our product? And all of these little data points that we could find that would tell us a story about the volume or the hours that we would use, we took it, and we kind of formulated this unofficial, unscientific formula. And that's how we came up with an hourly quota per translator and reviewer in a month. And that's how we calculated the original budget for that pilot year. It was an estimation. And we only had one rule for all of our vendors, and that was charge us for everything. And we really meant everything. So we're not even talking about transfer the amount of words you do in an hour to an hourly rate. No, we said the time you spend on this project, charge us for it. And then we waited. and it was a little bit daunting in the beginning. Because the thing that when you have these conversations, the thing that comes up first, I think, is that people say, you're going to end up spending so much money, that this is going to cost you so much. Aren't you afraid? And we did know that it would probably cost us more. We assumed that about 10%, maybe about 10% at least, our budget would grow due to this. But there's only one way to find out. And we really committed. We committed to 6 months first to see like what if we actually let them charge for every single thing that they do. And then at a 6-month mark, we'll check where we are. And yes, I'll tell you later where we went. But it was a long wait. And then the results came in. So the Aura translation team, after this 12-month period, feels appreciated and often goes above and beyond for our product. And this really shows. And we also did another questionnaire at the 12-month mark, asking them, how did it go for you? And the translators reported things that we really use kind of as our vendor management KPIs now. They said they feel more valued. That came up in the results a lot. And they go above and beyond in those words. And the third one, which I really liked personally, is that we prioritize Aura over other clients. So this was a huge thing for us, because what does that mean? That means that they are truly engaged. They truly care about our team and our success, and they feel like they're part of that success. We also celebrate that success with them quite often. The translation quality has gone up, and this is not this is not based on a specific LQA model or standard, but we just see that we catch a lot more bugs in all of our languages now than what we did previously. So our translators have always had access to the ring. So whenever a translator starts working for us, we always send them the ring, and they get data, they use it, they get to keep the ring. It's theirs, it's a personal device. But until we started using hourly rates, they never reported bugs. It just wasn't paid for. It wasn't something that they felt obligated to do. And I don't blame them. I don't do free work either. So it makes sense. So this is the quality metric that we set up for ourselves. Can we see a difference in like I said, either amount of bugs fixed or found? So that was a huge success as well. And during the pilot project, it's been a year and a half now, so we're still calling it a pilot. I think we'll have to stop calling it a pilot at some point and call it just the way it is. We've seen about a 19% budget growth during this year and a half, mostly due to company growth and localization scaling. So actually what I'm seeing is that this budget growth should be a lot higher, actually. In this year and a half and also prior, we keep continuously adding new languages to the system. Like I said, our copy team keeps adding volume. They keep doing more and more content with AI. So the volume is actually growing and growing and growing. So 19% to me seems like a good success. So this is, just checking if you can see it. Yes. So this is an example of what happened on a project type level. So, and these are average words. So the top one is 13 words. In a 13-word project, we saw a 500% growth in cost. 13 words is usually a marketing copy. So 13 words is usually the hero copy on our website, the one that is meant to sell the product at one glance. So previously, we were paying the translators 17 euros, 68 cents to create the most important copy in our website. And now with the hourly rate, we were paying them 106.9 euros. And this is an average, it's not per language. And the second one from the top is an average app project. So on average, our app, when we do a new feature, it will have around 700 words. So here we started seeing the cost go down. Previously, with words, would have been around 1,000 euros, and now it went down to 600. And then the bottom one, 2,095 words, is a typical support article project. And that went down as well. So this was a little bit surprising to us when we started seeing these results. And I'll reiterate, never in this pilot project, our agenda was never to cut cost, or cost actually was never even any motivation for us to do this pilot. It was just, this is kind of like an outcome that we got, and we were quite happy about it, actually. I think that there are a lot of things behind those numbers, and I don't think that this is a sustainable necessary situation. It kind of fluctuates depending on what we're doing. Also, if we're onboarding new translators, a new translator in the beginning will be slower, and then when they get really familiar with the product, they will get faster. So always, like when you add a new language or a new translator, it's like cost goes up and then it comes down. And it's really up to us to make the cost come down at that point, because we need to train them. The better we train them, the better we give them context, the better we include them in the work, the cheaper it'll then be for our costs. A couple of things I'll point out. Also from our surveys with the translators, we found out that some of the translators were saying that, well, I'm not very familiar with the hourly rate, so I feel like my hourly rate is probably not where it should be. So we've had conversations with some translators during this process that, I quoted you an hourly rate. I feel like it's a little too little. and I think that this is something that will contribute to what we're seeing here. And then another point was made by a few translators that I'm a very experienced, very fast translator. So I'm actually not making as much money on the hourly rate as I am on the word rate. So these are some of the bubbling under things that will contribute to those numbers that we're seeing. So next step for our team, well, I'll skip to the last one. We will continue with the hourly rate. Like I said, this is no longer a pilot project for us. We have been really happy with how the team is performing, and I think that there's also been a bit of a culture shift in our team and the way that we view our translators and our LSP and our vendors. I think it's shifted our minds a little bit that, we are paying by the hour, we're paying for their time and their expertise. No one ever talks about words anymore. Words are now more like a way to estimate how fast can we deliver this, and that's it. And next step for us is that we will look into AI possibilities. We're using AI to some extent. I know I'm tying it into the topic of the conference. And actually, I've seen a lot of very interesting presentations during this conference that really just has validated all of the things that we think that we will start doing with AI. So there are so many possibilities in LQA and the review steps and you've seen the presentations. So we will be looking into all of these possibilities. We will scale further. Our content team is not stopping. They're at this very moment, they're putting out content that we need to go and localize. But we do know that we do need to cut down the time spent, especially as we scale. So for instance, currently, we only have 6 languages in the app that we localize. We're adding 3 or 4 more languages just this year, so we are scaling. So we are well aware of the challenges that we have in maintaining the hourly rate system that we have, and this lovely situation and happiness we have in the team, but still increasing the volume and making it sustainable. So that's where AI comes in for us. And cut down time spent but increase the volume for us means let's use AI as a tool for the translators to be more efficient, and then we can increase the volume and we can just still keep everyone engaged and everyone will still have a meaningful income from our team. So those things sum up the pilot that we did. And in the end, I just think I'll throw a question to the audience asking how many at this moment is using an hourly rate? Yay! That's great. I know it's nothing new. It's not really revolutionary, and you know, like Jose said, it's something we talk about all the time. But yet, still, it's a conversation topic. So I'm really personally looking forward to having this conversation now, and then this becoming just a reality of how we work. And with the AI, you know, it's already here. We're going to be using it in multiple ways. I think that hourly rates is really the only way that we will make it work. Word rates no longer apply in the realm of AI. Thank you.